All right, gonna do a playthrough of Fief, France 1429. This is produced by Academy Games, designed by Philippe Moshebouf, if I pronounce that right. 2014, I believe this is a game was originally published, I want to say in the 80s or 90s, and this is a reprinted edition. So what is this game? Well, it's a multiplayer diplomatic game of medieval France. I'm playing a 6-player game, so we got 6 different families here. You're trying each family, you win by getting 3 victory points. Victory points in the game are hard to come by. You only get victory points in 3 ways. One, you get them through becoming Lord of a Fief. That's worth 1 victory point. You can get multiples of those. You get a victory point by becoming Pope. You get a victory point by becoming King. And that's it. And you have to get 3 to win. So pretty stringent victory conditions. However, like, say, the game Dune, you can make an alliance with another family. And if your combined victory points are 4, you win between the 2 families. So that's probably the game suggests that's the best, easiest way to go about victory. All right, let's take a look at the map real quick. The map is divided into fiefs, and these are these colored regions here. So this fief, for example, has 2 villages. In order to gain the fief title, you have to control, in this case, all the villages in the fief, which in this case is 2. Some of the fiefs are larger. This one has 3 villages. This one has 4 villages. So you need to gain control of all of them. You'll start the game with occupying 1 village on the map. Now the map's also divided into bishoprics, which you can see these outlines here. And how that works is, here's the bishopric marker. Once all the villages in the bishopric are controlled, you vote on who will become bishop for that area. The voting, again, in detail, but it's basically 1 per village you can control. These villages with the larger, typeface and the larger amount of buildings on the space, these count as 2 votes. So those are the kind of the seats or the primary area of the bishopric. So that's it. That's kind of how you win. It doesn't seem to be too complex of a game. I haven't played it before. This is the first time playing. Let's take a look at kind of the opening setup. This will be the first player card, and first player because I get the first player card. This actually gets passed around counterclockwise, so that's something that would make Enrico very pleased because he likes to play counterclockwise. I kind of actually do too, just because the way I set the game up, it's easier to go, this way than to go, across. So, makes some sense. So you start with 1 lord, which you draw off a deck of lord cards, and they can be a lord or a lady. You get a little, stand-up guy here, standee for that lord. You're going to start with some money, $5. You're going to start with some troops. There's 2 troop types in the game. There's knights and there's men-at-arms. And you're going to start with your keep, which goes in the space you start with. So I'm going to start the game here. I took a look. They will choose, the blue faction's going to choose their spot first. Kind of looked over the board earlier to see where I wanted. Corner positions always seem the best. Now these fiefs only require 2 spaces to get the Lord title, and that's appealing. But I felt, you're kind of in between 3 different fiefs here. That might be a little more difficult. I'm going to start them over here, and that's going to be in Pugnac. So they're going to start here. And we'll get all their, sorry about the reaching across here. They're going to start with all their troops, and the blue faction with Baudouin is going to start there. I'm going to go ahead and do all the other setups and then come back. Okay, so I've done the setup here, the initial setup, and we can see people have tried to stay away for the most part, except down here they're setting up next to each other. That's the blue and white factions. However, the white faction has a lady as their starting lord. There's a 2-to-1 ratio of male lords versus ladies, and there's a distinct difference between males and females and what they can do. So, for example, females can't get bishop titles, cardinal titles, or the pope title, obviously. Yeah, I know it's sexist and, you know, the church and all that. But such is the case. They also don't help in battle. Male lords help in battle. Female lords do not, unless one of them has the dark title. If they manage to get the dark title, which only can go to a female lord, they become actually the best military leader in the game. You know, I guess that's very French or something. So, you know, they either do nothing or they can become quite powerful. However, because of the 2-to-1 ratio, actually female lords are quite important, or female ladies, because the only way two factions can ally is through a marriage. There's no same-sex marriages back in 1429 France. I know they're unenlightened, but because of the ratio and because that's a requirement, you know, having a female lord's really, really pretty important. So that's kind of how the game represents things. So this is the initial setup, and I'm going to go quickly through the sequence of play here, which is, there's this handy player 8 card. So phase 1's the hear you phase. You're going to do marriages. At this point, I mean, we could do some marriage alliances between players, but I don't think anyone really is interested in doing that until the first turn shakes out. We have elections. However, there's nothing that can be elected at this point because you have to control all the spaces in a bishopric have to be controlled by players. So, you know, that's obviously not the case at the start of the game. Before you can have an election, you can't elect a bishop or a pope until you have cardinals. You can't get cardinals until you get bishops. You can't have a king until you have people become fief lords. Okay, so now we go to phase 2, the discard, draw, and play cards. This is kind of, I mean, well, I'll go through it here. So you can have up to 3 cards, but in turn orders, players will discard cards. Nobody has any cards. They're not going to discard any. Players draw up to 2 new cards. There's 2 types of cards they can draw. There's actually 3, but there's 2 decks to draw from. This is the Lord deck. These will be new lords or cardinal titles, or the dark title card will come out of here. This is the Fortune. There's actually 2 types of cards. I can't really go through it but I'll say the black cards are kind of disasters, which can be plagues and bad harvests and the like. And then there's gray cards, which can provide advantages, assassinations, I think. Other things. You know, like I said, it's my first playthrough. I've just kind of looked through it. So we go in turn order. Players may drop to 2 cards. They can either do 2 fortune cards or 1 lord and 1 fortune card. A player's limited to 3 cards. Okay, so player 1, they're going to want to draw a lord card because each player only starts with 1 lord, and they're going to get another lord, which is good for them. Gavin, and they're going to draw a fortune card. Now, if these are black, they don't look at them. They're disasters, and they just get placed here. And they keep drawing until they actually get a gray card. So another disaster, and then finally they're going to get a fortune card. They're going to look at it. I'm not sure what that is. I'll look it up later. Okay, so that's how that works. I'll go through all the players and come back and we'll do actually resolve all the disasters that happen. All right, so everybody's drawn their cards. Everybody took the option of drawing a Lord card and a Fortune card. Now we're going to go and we're going to resolve these disasters. There's 3 of them, so you know, good times here in medieval France. Let's see. Okay, first one is plague. I think it is plague. Okay, all villages in the bishopric are affected by the plague. All right, so when you get a disaster, you roll a die, and you get In this case, we get a 5. We're going to find the 5th bishopric, which is where? 1, 2, 3. Okay, it's over here. So this is the 5th bishopric. So plague is going to hit this one. Oh boy. Okay. So if I go down to the plague rules here, what do we got? All villages are affected. Players immediately resolve the following. For each lord in the bishopric, roll 1d6. On a die roll 1, 2, or 3, that lord dies. Yay! All armies in the bishopric automatically lose half of their units in each village. Knights and men-at-arms count the same and lost to round it down. Decides which ones are removed. Okay, so any lord entering a plague-infested bishopric must be roll see if he or she dies. A lord leaving and entering the same bishopric does not roll again. A lord leaving a plague bishopric, an adjacent plague bishopric does not roll again. Okay, troops entering that bishopric lose half. New troops placed aren't affected. A new lord played is not affected. Disaster cards remain affected. They're removed and discarded to the fortune and disaster at the end of the round. Okay, so yeah, exciting stuff here. Let's see. So we have the yellow faction. This is Eleanor. Let's see, on a 1, 2, or 3, she dies. She survives. She's tough. Okay, we go down here. This is the kind of the pink or whatever, red faction, whatever they are. So that's Othan. Othan lives too. Okay, so they're all right. So they're going to lose half their troops rounded down. They start with 4. You don't have to lose the knights, so they're going to each lose 2 men-at-arms. Okay, and this makes this unappealing for other people to enter, although in the early game, I can't imagine there's going to be a lot of that, but it could. Okay, so plague, happy times in medieval France. Oh, yeah, and I'll leave the plague card here to show that that bishopric is suffering from the plague. Okay, so that was the first disaster. Second disaster, we get this windmill, which is famine. Okay. I'm glad I didn't live in medieval France, I think. We'll see where it's affected. 5. Okay, it's in the same bishopric here. So we got famine, we got plague. That's not a good place to be. Famine, mills in the bishopric do not produce income. Well, nobody has mills yet, so that's all right. Player manette place, so that's it. And nope, famine can cause an uprising. 10.1. What does that mean? 10.1. Okay, these are an opportunity. If somebody has an uprising card, a player may play if the initiative event causes an uprising. When an uprising is played in a village, any troops immediately attacked. Okay, so we'll see if that comes into play. But okay, so that wasn't terrible. And we get another famine card. And let's see who gets this one. 6. Okay, I believe on a 6 it's a false. It doesn't happen. Let me see here. Resolving. We'll determine which bishopric. A die roll of 6. False alarm. The disaster did not occur, and it's discarded. Okay, so that's it. We're done with the the disasters here. Okay, so we're going through the. We did income. You get $1 per village, so everybody gets $1. That's all they start with. If you have a mill, you get $2 per mill you have. Nobody starts with mills, but we'll see they will build them now. So go to purchases. Strongholds cost a lot. You can buy mills for $3. Everybody bought a mill. You can see a mill on each village. They provide 2 more income, so you start making money the second turn you have one. Provided you don't get hit with famine or whatever. Nobody can buy a fief title. Troops, everybody bought at least 1 troop. Some just bought 1. The ones that got hit by plague just rebuilt their forces. They're out of money. So nobody built anything but men-at-arms. Nobody bought any knights, for example. Those cost $3. A men-at-arms only cost $1 or 1 denarii. Nobody bought anything else. Okay, so we're done with that. I think I will stop for now, load this video up, do another one when we go through movement and battles.